Hey everybody, Swarsky here. We're going to go ahead and correct our test. Just make sure that you obviously have your test back and that you have that correction form or that relearning form already. If you don't have one of those things, go ahead and pause the video, make sure you got it. Also, if you would rather have quieter space, pause the video, figure out where you need to be so you can hear me, focus on what you need to, and get ready to make your corrections. Okay, here we go. First one's now, this is in class cake, but these are the same exact questions, so just follow along. So number 1, 2, all the way to 7, and fix what you need to. So the first one, we are talking about identifying slope and y-intercept. The slope in this case is 4, and then the y-intercept would be at -2. And some people might have put 0, -2. Both are fine if you did this, or just put -2. I know we were kind of hitting pretty hard that we needed as a coordinate. I didn't specify it, so I'm not super worried. Each piece is a half point, so if you want to think of that. So if you got one of these, 0.5, but the whole score is out of 1. Next one, we have a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of -3. Remember our equation, y equals mx plus b. Here's the slope, y-intercept. So y equals 2x, and then just -3. I had a lot of people try and do the whole point, and that just doesn't make any sense. So again, for this, I'll do kind of half point also. I don't usually do that, but if you got the slope, but your y-intercept is weird, or even if you're putting it in, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So if you got one of these right, but if they're in the wrong order, which some people were doing, where they just flip-flopped what slope and y-intercept were, same thing with this. So they had -3x plus 2. Won't give you credit on that, but you can do your corrections and get full credit back. Next one. So here's our next piece. It's our starting on our level 2, so out of 2 points. We want to graph the equation. We start at the y-intercept at 1, and then our slope tells us what our rise and run is. So we're rising -1, or going down 1, and then over 2. And I'll do that a couple times. You didn't need to, but just for my line. Okay. And that's out of 2 points. Your 2 points are coming if you got your y-intercept correctly, that's +1. And then if you did your slope right, that's the other point in there. So if you got one of those pieces right, but you're messed up on one, you can at least give yourself some credit for that. Otherwise, correction it up, my friends. There you go. Next one, here is the graph. We want to write the equation. Here's my y-intercept. So my b is at -2. My slope, I'm rising 2 over 1, and it's positive. So my slope is 2, or 2 over 1. So y equals 2x minus 2. Again, each piece is worth a point out of 2 points. Same thing, but from a table. Here's the y-intercept. So I know I'm at there. That's 1 point. And then finding the slope. Y's are moving by 8. Your x's are moving up by 2's. So that means your slope is 8 over 2. I had some people do it here, and you're fine. But always remember, if we can simplify, we will. 8 over 2 is the same thing as 4 over 1, or just 4. So my equation is 4x plus 3. Again, a point for each piece. Okay. I had some people doing where I think they were thinking that like each part of these were going to be what you needed to. So I had a lot of this, but you can't do that because each part of that is all part of the slope for what you need to. Okay. Again, pause video, correct what you need to, and then you can move on. Last two on the back page. It's asking, from our equation, what's the slope and y-intercept mean? The slope is -15. What does it mean? You can have something to say that's what you're paying back each week. That's the money per week. So something along those lines of you paid this back, you're paying that much money back per week. If you have questions on whether or not yours makes sense, let me know. But there's a couple different options. Same thing with the y-intercept for, now I can't write. What is going on? Awesome. I'm going to just finish up. I don't know why, but I can't write. So your y-intercept on part B should be 90. And what does it represent? Well, that represents how much you borrowed from your grandma. So grandma's money you borrowed, all of that. Okay? I might not even be able to go to the last piece. Of course not. And then number 6, so the last part, so if you pay back at the same rate, how many weeks will it take for you to completely pay her back? Explain your thinking. So I need to see some kind of work. And then from there, you should get a grand total of 6 weeks. Okay? I'm going to have to verbalize the last one. Oh, bummer. No, not going to work for me. For whatever reason, my screen froze. So, go to number 7. I know I can't obviously show it this, but I'll explain it. So let's work our way down. So it's asking for, when you're visiting Baltimore, you need to rent a taxi. Go to National Aquarium. Company charges a flat fee of $3.50 per mile. So the first question, part A, is asking, write an equation in slope-intercept form. Hey, there we go. Got it back. Hold on. So if you don't know, here's, oh, there, no, yes. Oh, that's why. 90, and then this should be 6 weeks. Terribly written, but got that. Next piece. Maybe my pen shut off. Maybe that was why. So your equation for this should be y equals, this is your rate of change. So 0.5 or 0.50 or 0.50 would be fine. X plus 3. People made mistakes. If people made mistakes, it's usually that got flipped around. So I got, let me change my color. So this is the incorrect one. This way. Based off this, you guys did a good job. Whether you got this wrong or right, you identified this stuff right. So the correct way to finish this would be your Y-intercept is 3. What does that represent? That's the amount of money that you pay for using the taxi. And then if we write an equation that, well, and then so the wrong one, a lot of people, even though they wrote this equation wrong, you were representing the Y-intercept correctly and then saying what it meant. So I can give you, if you got this wrong, I'll give you minus, like this is a point off. But based off your incorrect equation, if you did this, I'll give you that right. Same thing if you use this equation and you tried answering this, a lot of people would have done 3x. Well, you would have done, so people would have said, so if you would have got $30.50, if you did that, I'll give you another point because you're using the incorrect equation correctly. So you can still get points for this, which is nice. But the correct one would have been if I did 50 cents for 10 miles and then added $3 after that. This ends up being 50 cents, so that would end up being $5.03, so you'd have a grand total of $8 that you'd have to be paying. So this is the correct thing we're looking for. So some people were doing stuff wrong. So you can still give yourself some points. If you're not 100% sure what your score should be, let me know, especially on these last 2 questions, or how you, like maybe you made a mistake, you don't know what, communicate with me and we'll talk about that. But you have a grand total, of 14 points. So add up what you had and put it on the top out of 14. You'll see a little thing in the top middle of your test, and you can do that. Make sure you're doing the reflection. If you did anything wrong, let me know. If you have any questions, pause, repeat, rewind, get an extra explanation on this. Otherwise, keep yourself rolling, and I will